and grew up seeing, and that's kind of part of where we're all at, is we started and kind of watched these guys grow, the Seth Rollins and the Dean Ambrose, and we watched all these guys grow as characters. To see someone come back from something that, you're never wrestling again, to coming back on the grandest stage of them all, I really don't think there's a bigger debut that could happen. Like, even Fandango going over Jericho in his first match at Mania wasn't as big as Bryan's re-debut after 3 years gone. This is easily a WrestleMania moment that, when we're all old and gray, we'll be telling our grandkids about. Yes, Ryan.
Now, one thing I did notice during the match that made me laugh is Daniel Bryan, he's always been kind of like that. You mentioned Jimmy Fallon as a joke, but he reminds me of Jimmy Fallon, where he doesn't keep a straight face all the time. There's I think in Ring of Honor, him and Kevin Steen were doing a promo, or someone was doing a promo with Daniel Bryan, and he just started laughing so hard, and he had to hide his face, and it was just awesome to see. He's just...
I think that was the promo. It was Paul London and
it was
Daniel Bryan.
Yes, it was
London.
About
the Dolphins?
Swarm. Yeah.
Was it the Swarm and Dolphins?
Couldn't even keep a straight face, and he just, cracks right in the middle looking serious. Well, I noticed it when he got in the ring and he's looking across and seeing two of his best friends in Owens and Sami Zayn. They've been in the Indies. They were in Ring of Honor together. And just for him, I saw a smile on his face, even though he's supposed to be angry. But to see that smile, being there with his best friends, with his big return, and Shane McMahon. But that was just really cool to see that you could see the kid come out in Daniel Bryan.
For sure. Because he thought he never had that chance again.
And
to get that chance with his friends one more time at least. But it's going to be more than one more time, obviously, from the looks of it. So
I mean, kind of going to your smile thing and transitioning into our next matchup, I didn't catch it at first, but reading the Twitter sphere, there was a glimpse where you could see Alexa Bliss giving a big smile to her legitimate best friend, Nia, before they go into their Raw Women's title match. Now, while this match, I wanted Alexa to win because she's on a roll right now. Coming from somebody who had very few matches in NXT, was really featured as a manager for Buddy Murphy and Wesley Blake, to getting called up and breaking out on her own and legitimately being one of the best on the microphone.
Rushing it.
I mean, she, when she had her match at Elimination Chamber, the tears and kind of the babyface promo, but then cutting it right back to, this is why I'm better than all of you, and all of this. She's just been on a roll. She was the first woman to win the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship, but just kind of see her blossom from her pixies, blowing glitter, tutu wearing, to kind of this badass, I'm gonna, confident, there you go, do whatever I have to character. I was kind of really impressed with this match. There wasn't, it's very much David versus Goliath. Alexa's 5'0", 100 pounds soaking wet with a brick in her pocket. Where you got Nia Jax, who's easily 6', 6'2", 272 pounds. Which I know some people are like, oh, I'm tired of Nia being the only one who gets her weight announced. No, that just shows the monster of a person she is. Who cares about her weight? If you listen to her do, I believe, Jericho's podcast, she was embarrassed about it at first, but she has accepted. This woman is legitimately one of the most beautiful women on the roster.
She's not like most girls.
No.
God.
Way to play into her music. And I really think we've seen the last of Mickie James.
I hope.
No, I don't, because Mickie James is bae. But just...
Michael Bay?
Yes.
But Cole Bay?
She's exploding!
But just how...
By the way, Nia Jax, 240 pounds.
Oh, she's down to 40?
Yeah.
Good for her. Last I remember, it was 272. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Nia. Please don't kill me.
How dare you?
I know. But just how Nia kind of, right off the bat, took Mickey out and was just ragdolling her. And just really throwing her around. And
she had a hold of her by the head. And boom!
Just really beat the piss out of her.
She did.
But on the flip side, you're right. On the flip side, WWE is really, you know, for a while they pushed the be a star, don't bully, this, that, and the other. And the whole Alexa-Nia feud was, you know, Alexa finally getting called out for calling Nia fat and saying she's stupid and saying she'd never had friends because of who she is. So it was really kind of backtracking on what WWE is supposed to be about. So that kind of confused me. And as Brandon said, I was really happy to see Nia Jax finally win a wristwatch. Because I really hope she starts wearing that title around like Big Show did the Intercontinental or the Hardcore title, just around his bicep.
That's a very good comparison. I like when you guys all picked Alexa to win.
Yeah.
I was the only one that picked Nia. You guys are jerks and you support bullying. It was, like Johnny was saying, it was a great way for him to end this. And the feud may not necessarily be over, but it's nice that Alexa can move on to something else. And then Nia, you can see her compete too. Whoever wants to mention anything, other comments?
This match I definitely kind of this match I definitely kind of saw.
Speaking of wristwatch,
suck me.
This match I definitely kind of saw as just like it could go either way. They could have Alexa retained, and it's just like, she's a bully, but guess what? Sometimes the bullies do actually win, and they walk out with their belt.
That's life.
Or they could go all you girls could be like Nia Jax and pull it out in the end and walk out with your first ever Raw Women's Championship.
It happened in grade school.
Right. But I feel like they did. I feel like they did the most responsible thing they could do in letting Nia Jax kind of. She manhandled Mickie James, and then she came in and tossed Alexa around. Alexa did not look weak at all because she held her own against a woman that's
3 times her size.
I don't know about 3, but at least twice her size.
First call her fat, saying the belly ain't gonna fit her.
Right.
272 pounds.
Right, and then throw me under the bus. By the way, Brandon said she's fat. Be cool.
When did I ever say that?
So Brandon
Paranoid much?
Brandon said this about a wristwatch. Hateful bastard. So with that, though,
I know my father.
I feel like they did the most responsible thing, in the end it paid off.
So my thoughts on it was the match went longer than I expected it to, really. Much like this segment on it itself. It wasn't exactly even a counter. I thought it was either going to be a squash of Nia beating him or Alexa cheating early to win on. And the match was all right. Told a good story, but they did go back and forth for a while. Jax's victory, though, was really heartfelt. And especially after the abuse she received, it was a nice way to round off the feud. So then, and then that though, after that match,
hold on.
except for Johnny's got more.
No. I was just, is this one of the first times somebody's won their first championship at Mania? I'm not saying the only, but one of the first. Is it like the first time, like, for example, a woman has won her first women's title at Mania?
That's a good question.
I remember Chyna's big return at WrestleMania 20, I think, and she dominated Ivory, the champion. Ivory didn't get one set of offense, and I don't know if that was Chyna's first reign, but I remember that was a big deal returning from injury. That stood out to me with this very comparative. Yeah. Now, the last match went a little long, so we're going to need you to cut a couple minutes from yours.
So the next match was what, I mean... Everyone, it was the dream match. It was AJ Styles and Nakamura. I mean, it's happened in Japan, but we're finally going to get it in WWE. It was the dream match for us here. And it felt like it could never live up to its hype, though, and sadly, I don't really think it did. Knox's extra entrance was excellent. It was clear from the moment AJ came out that the crowd was exhausted already.
Yeah.
The two men worked a solid match. The pacing felt a little strange. My feel was that they worked a New Japan match, which it really didn't get enough time to gain the full momentum, though, to the finish in a New Japan style. What we got was a 15-minute slow build, but then a rushed 5-minute finish. The two men still put on a great show. It's just as though it could have been better, and the dead crowd particularly didn't help. Shinsuke's heel turn after the match sets up plenty of potential developments, though. It may not be a popular opinion, but Shinsuke has not achieved what we all expected for him in the WWE main roster. He hasn't quite delivered that standout match as of yet, I feel. And so this could be the change of pace that finally gets him up to that point. AJ Championship going forward still feels like the right idea right now.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of talking about it on the ride to kind of meet up with everybody. I went back and watched their New Japan match, and while it was solid, it wasn't like a blow your mind match. They just really kind of beat the piss out of each other and went that route. And I really feel, with the heel turn at the end, that's setting up where we might get that blow your mind AJ Styles Nakamura match at Backlash, at a random SmackDown, or something like that, where they're kind of saving it. Don't give away everything in the first match when they're going to have that heel turn and go into 2 or 3 more matches. So maybe, at Backlash, or hell, even stretch it out to SummerSlam, because you don't see too many feuds start at Mania. Nakamura won the Rumble, picked AJ, but really this feud has just now started at WrestleMania. And it was the perfect thing. Good guy. He beat me, whatever. Well, F you, I'm going to punch you in the ding-ding. Now AJ has fuel to come back for that rematch, and maybe Nakamura wins, and then you have AJ chasing Nakamura all summer, leading up to SummerSlam for a really big, huge blow-off, maybe some kind of stipulation, or something like that to give that final end to that feud, or AJ moves to Raw.
Yeah.
There's so many things that can happen. It's really hard to say.
My summary of this match is pretty short and simple. We've seen the pairing before in New Japan, and I feel like there we got the full movie. We got the full spectrum. Coming to the American market and doing WrestleMania, we got the abridged version. I feel like this was one of those matches where they realized, hey man, we're 6, almost 7 hours into this thing. You guys really gotta cut off the loose ends and just get out there and go. I was happy with the finish. I was happy with the turn at the end, and it kind of gives Nakamura something. He's not walking out with the belt, but he's walking away with a renewed sense of like, oh, this is who I am. This is where I'm going.
Yeah,
and
just that extra chip on his character.
Yeah.
Maybe that that extra chip to get him over the hump or whatever. Because like Steven said, he's kind of fallen a little bit flat than what we expected.
Yeah.
Not that he hasn't had great matches, he just hasn't had that match yet
exactly.
on WWE.
And speaking to your thing on the finish, I mean, coolest reversal out of the Kinshasa in a while.
That's the way it should have went, and I was happy with it. And the turn at the end gives me hope for their future.
Yeah, and a lot of people were complaining that it wasn't the main event, but if you were going to have that kind of a finish, I don't think it's good that it wasn't the main event, because you couldn't end WrestleMania with that heel turn, I think. One thing that I did like is they still have so much that they can build towards, because they didn't have finisher, kick out, finisher, kick out, finisher, kick out, like you see in a lot of these other feuds.
Yeah.
So they have so much that they can build to.